What is up, guys? Sophia here, back with another topic. If you are new or you're just not subscribed, then go ahead and hit the subscribe button, and don't forget to hit the notification bell so you can stay updated on everything. And also don't forget to check the description box because I always put a lot of stuff in there, including my book specifically for single women, because what we're going to be talking about is a relationship topic that is specific to single women. And this comes with who are you lending your trust to, right? Now, I think that there is a popular belief. It is not my belief, and I'm going to explain why, that you should just sit around and trust everybody until they give you a reason not to trust them. I personally disagree with this because whether we like to believe it or not, there are men out there who want to abuse your trust. There are men out there who want to take advantage of you. There are men out there who rely on the fact that you can be so trusting and so giving, and they know how to put forth just enough to kind of earn your trust, only to screw you over in the long run. And I can almost bet, and I will even put this back on myself in terms of me being a complete open book, that a lot of the times in my past relationships, without fully getting to know somebody and lending them my trust very early on in the relationship without figuring out who it is that they are, and it could be dating, it could be a relationship, it could be getting to know a man, whatever the case may be, that oftentimes I have found myself to be very disappointed based on who they were because I felt like I just gave my trust easily. And so what happens when you do that? And like I said, I'm fully aware of issues that I have had, and I'm fully aware of issues that I had to work past, right? Is that oftentimes you can start to grow a very distrustful way in relationships altogether, because if you get into a slew of dating situations, relationships, or getting to know men, whatever the case is, and you just equally give them your trust without getting to know them really, and they start to disappoint you over and over again, then you're going to start to internalize that, and then you're going to start to see other people like that. And there was definitely a time when I went through that, right, where I was just distrustful, period. And that is an extreme, right? We don't want to do that. And then there was also a time where I readily didn't want to get into relationships because I had felt in the past I had gave my trust away too easily to people. They abused it, and now I don't want to get into another relationship because, well, not now, but back then I didn't want to get into another relationship because I didn't want to give them the opportunity to do it again, right? And so what I want to do is I want to actually take a Bible verse from Proverbs, and I'm going to read 23 and 24. And this is the traditional Bible verse where it says, guard your heart, right? But this is from the Amplified version, so the wording is going to look a little different. So it says, watch over your heart with all diligence, for from it flows the spring of life. Put away from you a deceitful, lying, misleading mouth, and put devious lips far from you. So this can go to two different ways. Not only should you not be deceitful, lying, and misleading. We talk about that all the time, right? But not only that, put away from you other people who do that. Put away from you other people who are lying, misleading, and who are devious, because at the end of the day, it's just like I said, when you allow these people into your space so easily, like if you say, oh, I'm just going to trust every guy that I encounter, and and until they give me a reason to distrust them, that's when I'll deal with it. But until then, I'm just going to let them in. Then you give them the opportunity for those who are, because it's not every man, who are deceitful, lying, and misleading and devious. They will automatically behave that way towards you. And oftentimes we don't find out they are that way until it's too late, until we have trust issues, until they have disappointed us, or until they have left deposits within our heart. And now we're hurt. And every hurt that we have, it's just like the Bible says, with your heart flows from it the spring of life. So when we have these things, or these devious and lying and misleading mouths and men putting into us, then that is what's going to spring from our heart, and going forward into other relationships. Just like I said, you can suffer from how I suffered, was having mistrust issues going forward into new relationships, or not wanting to be in a relationship at all, because then you feel like every man is like that when every man is not like that. So I guess mainly my point is, how do you go about trusting people, because this is not a situation where you want to encounter a man and then you're like, well, you have to prove you're trusting me because you might be a lying, deceitful bastard or something crazy, right? Because now you're just coming across as insane. Just because you're not choosing to easily give away your trust does not mean that you are choosing to be bitter or behave in a way that is very standoffish towards someone because you believe that they're going to hurt you. Just because you don't give away your trust very easily doesn't necessarily mean that you hold the perception that somebody is going to hurt you. All it means is that that person must earn your trust. And I believe that I said this in another video, and I'm going to put it down below on if you're trying to prove yourself to a man, that, if I was to go outside and meet some random stranger, I'm not going to say, wow, hi stranger, you look like a very nice person. Why don't you come back to my house and come live with me or come watch TV with me? You don't know that person. They can be a rapist, thief, they can be anything. And it's not to say that you are mean because you are doing this, but you are just being careful and you are looking after your own safety. And it's the same exact thing when it comes to guarding your heart or not giving your trust easily away to people. It's not that you're being mean or you're being bitter or you're not being open or you're not going to be receptive to love. It's just that you are being careful with yourself, because the repeated abuse of your trust with the wrong type of people can have long-standing issues. So for example, let's say that you start meeting a man and you're dating him. And I also suggest that you check out my video on how to weed out men in the first date, because I speak a lot about this. Instead of just saying, oh, I'm going out on a date with him and he wants the same things as I want. He wants to get married. He wants to have kids. And therefore, I'm just going to assume that. You actually back up and actually kind of withdraw, not yourself, but withdraw what you want to determine what he wants. Because as I have said many times in many videos, is that, for example, if I go out on a date and a guy is really into me and he might just want to be getting into my pants. Let's not pretend like we're not grown people, right? There are men who just want to get into your pants. And I have seen men do this. They're going to find out what you want and they're just going to repeat back to you what you want to make themselves appear to be the type of man that you want so that they can earn your trust. So if I say, oh, I want to get married in the next year, I want to have a child and I want to be engaged within a year or 7 months or something, I don't know. Then they're going to say, yes, I want the same things. And they could completely not mean it. But what they're trying to do is they're trying to earn your trust in order to get what they want from you. So instead of just giving out everything as far as what you want, you pull back some and you kind of figure out what it is that they want. And if what it is that they want, or if what it is that they are saying matches up with you want, then yes, that can build a little bit of trust. Don't just take him at face value, but really go deeper into that. Just be like, oh yeah, well, when were you looking to get married? Or what are you looking for in a wife? And mind you, in these particular instances, you haven't given them anything or anything from your own mouth that they can kind of attach to feed you what you want to hear. So in regards to gaining trust, it's very important. I guess what I'm trying to say is for you to get to know the authentic them, who they really are, what they really want, and not without giving too much of yourself. And I know that kind of sounds backward where people are like, oh, I'm not supposed to talk, or I'm not supposed to let them get to know me. Yes, of course you let them get to know the important parts of you, but also you don't want to feed them so much information that they can just mask themselves in what you're saying and you're not really getting the genuine part of them. And this is why I am a big proponent of dating for a fair amount of time. I don't believe that when we go out on first dates that we automatically need to talk about relationships, that we need to be in a relationship. You don't know this person, right? You can literally date somebody for 2-3 months or until you really feel like you know somebody before jumping into a relationship with them. Don't automatically make somebody your boyfriend because on paper they appear to be what you want. I have dated somebody that on paper they appear to be a wonderful person, but then when you get to know who they really are, they were a complete jerk. I remember one guy and he was a lawyer and he was playing the drums within church or whatever, right? So yeah, on paper he appeared to be successful. He also appeared to be a church going man. But when I really got to know him, all he was looking for was a hookup, right? I mean, let's be real. Throughout the talking to him, throughout the conversations, and it didn't even take me months to even figure this out. It was really just a couple of conversations, because when you pull back, it's not like I'm going to say, well, I'm celibate and I'm not saying anything about that. I'm like, oh, how do you feel about the dating phase? The way he was like, we can just come over, you could just come over to my house. And I'm not looking for that. Did he come out and say, I just want to sleep with you? No. But at the end of the day, if I'm meeting you and you don't feel like you want to take me out on any dates, and you feel like us getting to know each other is coming to your house at 10 p.m., I'm a grown behind person and I can do logical reasoning and know what it is that you want. And so therefore, yes, you look good on paper, but it's important not to get infatuated by that, to say, oh, he's a lawyer and he, has a position in the church and therefore he must be a trustworthy person, because sometimes that's not the case. People pretend to be things that they really aren't all the time. And in his specific situation, he just really kind of wanted to, sex. I mean, he just wanted a hookup. On the line of, intimacy, I feel like that's something that you should withdraw from. I think oftentimes in our community or in our society, we want to believe that we can just, hook up with people, and that this somehow creates an instantaneous connection, and that men really won't hook up with you unless they have good intentions for you. That's a lie. They completely will hook up with you and not care. They will completely hook up with you and ghost you. They will completely hook up with you and not have any intentions for you. If you want to hook up with a man in order to feel like, oh, well, if I hook up with him, then this will solidify the relationship and this will make him my boyfriend, that is not completely true. Or if you feel like, or if he tells you, because men often say this, oh, sex really doesn't matter how soon we have it, I won't, lose my respect for you. Once again, could that be true? Sure. Could it also not be true? Sure. The only way to find out is to really not even have sex with him, because even in my celibacy journey, one thing that I have completely understood is that if a man is just there to hook up with you, and you don't even have to tell them that you're celibate, because I rarely do unless I really get to that point with you. This is not something I'm like advertising on the streets or in a date, right? If they find out, dang, I went on 3 dates with her and she actually is about wanting to have a conversation with me and getting to know me, this doesn't seem like this is going to be as easy as it is, or even a month or even 2 months, then they're automatically going to phase out. Because if they're just there for hooking up or whatever, and you don't give them that, then that is a way to find out what they really are about. Because if they're not getting what they want from you, then they're going to go away. Men who stick around, and you're not hooking up with them, then you can tell that they're automatically ready to get to know you for who you are, and they're just not there for the sex. Now, and that's what you have to understand, because all the ways that I'm mentioning aren't like, oh, well, let me grill this person and let me make them earn my trust by telling them to jump through hoops and jump across the table and spin around in circles. You're not putting people through astronomical hoops in order to test them, because that's not what we're doing. Because I feel like when we get into the realm of just doing random crap in order to test a man, then that's when we're coming from a place of like past relationships or bitterness, or feeling like we have to test them to gain their trust. It really is just not giving all of yourself until somebody has actually proven. And yes, to some regard, people do have to prove themselves to you. There's nothing wrong with that, till they proven that you have deserved it. You don't deserve to go to bed with me until I feel that I can trust you, and you're not going to ghost me, or you're going to marry me, or you have good intentions, or after you're already married to me, depending on where your stance is with that. Or I am not going to enter a relationship with you as in saying that I am your girlfriend and you are my boyfriend until you have proven yourself to be consistent, until you have shown me that I can, rely on you, because sometimes we can't rely on men, or sometimes when you need them, they're not there the most. Until you can prove yourself to be the type of boyfriend that I need you to be. I'm not just going to say, oh, we're dating and you want to be with me and I need a boyfriend, and therefore you ask me, so let me go ahead and be in a relationship with you, if this person has not earn the right to call himself your boyfriend. I think oftentimes as women, we get so desperate to be in a relationship that we just simply accept whatever the man is dealing out. And we feel that, oh, well, you know, they asked me to be their girlfriend, so therefore they must be ready to take it to the next level. Not necessarily. They could ask you to be their girlfriend and they could be seeing 4 other people on the side and they could have asked them to be their girlfriend too, and you might not know about it, because the true test is for them to prove themselves to be a man that is worthy of being your boyfriend, and you determine that, not just accept that they want to be your boyfriend, that's just it. If they, you know, somebody can feel like, I want to be your boyfriend. I've had this situation plenty of times where you want to be my boyfriend, but I don't feel like you're going to be a good boyfriend. I don't feel like, you know, what you have shown me through the dating phase that I want to enter the next phase of the relationship with you. It's not always about a man choosing us as women. We also have to make a good choice depending on what we determine or who we determine a man to be. And I guess my overall point is that there is absolutely nothing wrong with taking time to, like, there's no rush. Like, we don't have to rush. We don't have to, and I have a video on that I'll link down below, that we don't have to rush and be on a timetable to hurry this relationship up. Because as somebody who has done couples counseling, as somebody who has done marriage counselings for other people, I feel like one of the biggest things that I notice is that they simply want to be married to somebody. This person has now showed up and was willing to marry them, and therefore they have married them, and then they turn around and they're like, oh, I can't trust them. I believe they're cheating. I don't think that they're this type of person. I don't think, but it's like all of that could have been alleviated if you just didn't feel like, oh, I just need to jump and walk down the aisle with the first person that seems to ask me. Because just because somebody asks you and just because you want to be married don't necessarily mean that it's a good fit, right? You have to determine that if what they're dishing out to you is something that you want, and if it's going to, you know, elevate you as far as your trust issues, because a good man should help make you feel secure. You shouldn't have any doubt of where your man is, if he's cheating on you, what he's doing, and those sort of things. During the dating and the relationship phase, you feel like, oh, I don't know if he's cheating on me. I don't know if there's other women. I don't know that. And then you turn around and marry him, then ultimately that's your fault, because he hasn't shown you that he was a trustworthy person through all of this time. So therefore, why did you turn around and marry him? And I feel like we can't be so anxious or ready to end our singleness that we just take whatever is handed to us, because sad to say, a lot of men out there bank on that when it comes to women, and they use it to their advantage. So you have to be willing to have enough self-esteem, confidence, and security within your singleness and within yourself to say, I'm not willing to give up myself and my singleness so easily until a man proves to me that he deserves that. Because the last thing that you want is to corrupt your heart and have a lot of insecurity issues. And I feel like we see women like that all the time. Women who jump in bad relationships. They keep making the same mistakes with the same type of men and bad people because they're so desperate and they want to just be with somebody, and therefore they just keep leaping and the same situation keeps happening. And then we see these bitter women, or these women who, I'm never going to find love, or these women who, all men are trash and all men want to just use me up, or all men want to abuse me. But a lot of that is not that all men want to do that. It's just the men that you have chosen to engage with are doing that to you, because you just actively choose to jump and leap freely and bind yourself to them without knowing what they're really about. So as they abuse you time and time again, then ultimately your heart, it starts to be corrupt. And like I said, we know everything flows from your heart. So if it's a bunch of toxicity within your heart, then guess what? That is what you will become, because you allowed other people to put those things there. All right, guys, thank you guys so much for watching. I genuinely hope that you enjoyed this. Don't forget to subscribe, and I will talk to you guys another day, another time. Bye-bye, y'all. Not ready for the show to end? It doesn't have to. You can head over to my site where you can read hundreds of articles. And also, you can feel free to shop my store where I have all of my products for sale. And last but not least, for even more video content, feel free to visit my YouTube channel where I talk about a wide array of content. Thank you guys so much for tuning in, and until next time, stay blessed.